Hutzel from intensivecarehotline.com with another quick tip for families in intensive care. So today I have an email from Victoria who says, Hi Patrick, my brother is on a ventilator and was breathing on his own for 5 hours and then he became tachypnic. Should I consider putting him back on a ventilator or CPAP support? Thank you so much. Now, Victoria is a client we worked with over the last few months, so I know the story of her brother and the situation on her brother. So here is what happens in a situation like that. I know her brother has a tracheostomy and has been weaning off the ventilator on and off over the last few weeks. In any case, so what she's referring to here is that her brother has been on a trach collar or trach shield. Basically, he has been disconnected from the ventilator and then breathes by himself, just with some humidified air or humidified oxygen. And then he gets exhausted after about 5 hours. And that is nothing uncommon when someone is being weaned off a ventilator. So here is what should happen in a situation like that. It is a very relevant question. It is a super relevant question in a situation like that, as a matter of fact. And, you know, given that the biggest challenge for families in intensive care is that they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what to look for. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know their rights, and they don't know how to manage doctors and nurses in intensive care. This is, you know, Victoria has done her research and, you know, she has watched all my videos and read all the blogs and questions answered. So, you know, she's coming from an informed place, which is really good. Okay, so when your family member gets exhausted after about 5-6 hours breathing spontaneously, if they have a trach, in most cases, you can put them back on CPAP or pressure support in most cases. So what is CPAP or pressure support? It means they're just breathing on one level of pressure. It's often a PEEP of 5, but it can also be a PEEP of 7 or maybe 8 or 7.5. And a little bit of pressure support, maybe anywhere between 5 and 10 is often the case, but it can be higher as well. And then it depends, you know, is the breathing rate slowing down? Is the breathing rate normal? The normal breathing rate is around 8 to 30 breaths per minute. Are the volumes okay when, you know, your loved one goes back on the ventilator? The volumes should be, the breathing volumes should be around 7 to 10 mils per kilo, right? So for simplicity, if your loved one is 80 kilo times 10, that should be 800 mils roughly. Right, once again, 7 to 10 mils per kilo. Next, if all of that is in place, what is oxygen saturation like? Right, is it above 95%, 96%? What are arterial blood gases like? Are they within normal limits? How often does your loved one need suctioning? Right? Do they need suctioning every 5 minutes? Or, you know, do they only need suctioning every few hours? How comfortable do they feel on the pressure support or CPAP? Now, if going from spontaneously breathing to CPAP is still not making your family member comfortable, they're still exhausted, they're still breathing fast, breathing shallow, their oxygen sats is low, you know, is it then an oxygenation issue? Do you need to increase oxygen levels, for example, right? But if that's not the case, then you might need to change to a controlled ventilation mode, such as CMV, SIMV, for example. CMV or SIMV, I should say, right? Because that gives a baseline for your loved one. It means they can breathe with a minimum rate from the ventilator. That means they get a guaranteed rate from the ventilator, 12, 20 breaths per minute, and they can breathe on top of that if need be. Whereas on CPAP or pressure support, they need to trigger every single breath themselves. Weaning off the ventilator is often a marathon, not a sprint, right? And what is also critically important, what Victoria hasn't said in her email, is mobilization, right? I have not seen many patients being successfully weaned off the ventilator without mobilization. meaning patients need to get out of bed. And before you're telling me now, oh no, they can't do that, I'm telling you they can. There's only two things that stop patients from being mobilized when on a ventilator. No, actually three things. The first thing is if someone is hemodynamically unstable, right, their blood pressure is up or down, heart rate is up or down, or they have fractures, right, they might be waiting for surgery, they have fractures. And number three, which is probably the biggest thing that stops people from being mobilized, is mindset. Mindset, right? And I put in brackets laziness and being complacent. That is what stops people from being mobilized. I have not seen people being weaned off the ventilator successfully without mobilization. Most ICUs that I worked at, and I worked in ICU or in critical care for nearly 25 years in 3 different countries, where I worked as a nurse manager for over 5 years. And I've been consulting and advocating for families in intensive care all around the world here at intensivecarehotline.com since 2013. And we've been saving many lives with our consulting and advocacy. And you can verify that on our testimonial section at intensivecarehotline.com or on our podcast section where we've done video interviews with our clients. So once again, 3 things stop people from being mobilized in ICU when weaning off the ventilator. Number 1 is hemodynamic instability. Number 2 is fractures. Number 3 is mindset. And again, I put in brackets laziness and complacency, nothing else, right? So if ICU is telling, oh, we don't do that here, we can't do that here, well, they can. They can. It's just a mindset issue. Okay, so you need to push for that regardless. So, you know, the question from Victoria to a degree is incomplete because yes, you can do all of what I just elaborated here, CPAP, pressure support, SIMV, CMV, but there's one incredibly important ingredient missing, which is mobilization. It's 50% of the equation. Don't let intensive care teams making excuses, or, for our US audience, if you're in LTAC in the US, don't let them make excuses and say they can't be mobilizing their loved one. It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. As soon as you can get a patient out of bed, you should get them out of bed. Think about it, for anyone who's doing sports or whatever, you can't run a marathon if you're not training for it. And it's the same with weaning off the ventilator. You need to train for it. You need to prepare for it. You need to do the exercises. It's not going to happen otherwise. So I hope that helps and explains, how your loved one can master that situation. Now, because we get so many questions for families in intensive care or from families in intensive care, that's why we created a membership for families of critically ill patients in intensive care. And you can become a member if you go to intensivecarehotline.com, if you're clicking on the membership link, or you go to intensivecaresupport.org directly. In the membership, you have access to me and my team 24 hours a day in the membership area and via email, and we answer all questions intensive care related. In the membership, you also have exclusive access to 21 ebooks and 21 videos that I have personally written and recorded. And those ebooks and videos will help you to manage and steer this incredibly difficult environment that is intensive care. And it will help you to make informed decisions, have peace of mind, control, power, and influence, making sure your loved one gets best care and treatment. I also offer one-on-one consulting and advocacy over the phone, Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, whichever medium works best for you. And I talk to you and your families directly. I handhold you through this experience that is intensive care, that I have decades worth of experience in. And I also talk to doctors and nurses directly. And I ask all the questions to the doctors and nurses that you haven't even considered asking, but must be asked when you have a loved one in intensive care. And it will help you make informed decisions, have peace of mind, control, power, and influence, once again, making sure your loved one gets best care and treatment. And once I start talking to doctors and nurses directly, you will see that the dynamics will change in your favor, because they know you have someone on your team who understands intensive care inside out. I also represent you in family meetings with intensive care teams. We also offer medical record reviews in real time so that you can get a second opinion in real time. We also offer medical record reviews after intensive care if you have unanswered questions, if you need closure, or if you are simply suspecting medical negligence. And all of that you get at intensivecarehotline.com. Call us on one of the numbers on the top of our website or send us an email to support@intensivecarehotline.com. And if you like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel for regular updates for families in intensive care. Click the like button, click the notification bell. Comment below what you want to see next, what questions and insights you have. Share the video with your friends and families. I also do a weekly YouTube live where I answer your questions live on a show, and you get notification for that if you subscribe to my YouTube channel or if you are an email newsletter subscriber at intensivecarehotline.com. Thank you so much for watching. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecarehotline.com, and I will talk to you in a few days. Take care for now.